Yo, what's up guys? We are back again with a new video. I hope you guys enjoy. Today, we're going to go through my Supercoach team like we do every week. This time, we're doing it a little bit earlier on a Tuesday, so I haven't got Team List Tuesdays to go off of to see what sort of news are coming out. I've got some sort of idea because I do listen to a lot of good podcasts, so shout out to podcasts like The Magic Sponge. If you haven't checked out that podcast, it's the Nrl Physio on Instagram, man, like amazing work for anyone that's like injuries or anything like that coming out. There is a couple of injuries I was kind of unknowing about that I got out of this one. So do go check those guys out. They do amazing stuff with their potties and all their Instagram work. So NRL Physio on Instagram and on Spotify. Go check out the Magic Sponge for all your injury news and this and that. Also, just quickly, I want to shout out Hold the Ball and all that sort of stuff. Thank you so much for having me on your channel over the weekend. If you haven't checked out the live stream, go check out my community page. I should have had a post there so you can go check out the live stream. It was my review on the Warriors game. You can really tell I am so happy after the weekend that had the Warriors and all that. It's been an up and down weekend for me overall. We had 2 baby showers, but then we also had a passing of a family member on my wife's side. So that was pretty unfortunate. Looking at a funeral maybe on Thursday. So this week my videos are going to be a little bit different. So I got the Supercoach video coming out today. And then I was planning to do my review and preview some of my tips for the weekend and also review each and every team tomorrow. It's my new little thing that I've been working on. So we'll see how we go with that and see if I have time for that, judging on all family commitments and all that sort of stuff. But appreciate you guys always tuning in. And yeah, let's get straight into this video. Supercoach for the weekend. Fucking amazing. Let's go. So my Supercoach score over the weekend was 1,288. Not too bad score overall. We're sitting about 8,500. I'm pretty sure I went down in rank just slightly. Obviously, a whole lot of people that own Nico Hines or, had some big scores from a lot of people that obviously I didn't have. But I feel like my team is filling out really nicely. I'm playing the long game. So basically, I'm just putting players in spots and all that sort of stuff. I am looking at bringing Nico Hines in next week after the bye. So this week is definitely not a go for me right now. I'm not willing to carry a 900k Nico Hines on my bench, but I made some moves that are going to help me get there a little bit later on. I've started with 50k in my bank. Now I've got about 180, I think, after all these moves. So not too bad of a move for me, and hopefully this works in the future. So moving on to my team and my scorers of note over the weekend, we had Nathan Cleary with 124, getting back into some sort of Supercoach form, which is really great to see from Nathan Cleary. I think he's been an amazing halfback for how long. He's been the best Supercoach scorer, well, one of the best Supercoach scorers for like a shitload of time. This is why we're having him in the team. You don't sell him. You don't sell guns like this. He will get back into form, and when he does, I expect consistent form like this from him from here on out. So it's really good to see Nathan Cleary get a really good score here with 124. Tommy Turbo with a 106, and judging off the game I watched, a lot of his work goes really unnoticed. Obviously, finishing that game with I think about 300 run meters, a couple of try assists and this and that, but he still doesn't look like he's back to the normal Turbo, which is the most scariest thing for the Supercoach, because when we see a full running Tommy Turbo, it will come a little bit later on. And what sort of scores could we be looking at of this guy? And already he's made a shitload of cash for our team, and it's just amazing to have him in our squad anyway. Next up, we got the rookie Jacob Preston from the Bulldogs, and 108 from him, sitting on my bench and all that sort of stuff. I'm lucky I reserved him this week, but just so great to see this young bloke just kill it in first grade, getting his chance and really holding down that spot. And I do expect him to hold down that spot for the future to come. Even when players like, Tavita Pangai and all that come back, I just feel like he's just going to hold on to that spot. He just grits and grinds. Yeah, the kid is amazing. He's playing really good footy at the moment, and he's scoring consistently, and he's getting really good Supercoach points, so it's great to have him in my squad. Next up, the player from the Flying Broncos at the moment, we had Reece Walsh, pretty much that one player that's breathing fresh air into this team. It's just amazing. So 99 points from Reece. He has been killing it lately. Just watching him is just so entertaining. I've been watching it for years for the Warriors, now going to the Broncos behind, he better forward pack than what we had those years we had him. Just a better team collective than what we had him in last couple of years and all that sort of stuff. Can't say the same about the team now, but before, Walshy was performing like this for me. Before that, he wasn't getting those Supercoach points consistently. Now it's looking like he's getting a bit more consistent Supercoach points and this and that. And this is without goal kicking, which is one of his main points last couple of years. So I don't see him getting the goal kicking anytime soon. I think Adam Reynolds, unless Adam Reynolds comes down with some niggling injuries, this and that, and even then you got Katoni Staggs and other guys that can kick the ball there. But Walshy, 99 points, them try assists are coming left, right, and center. People are really struggling with him on the edge with his speed. So yeah, it's good to see him kill it for the Broncos. Sammy Walker with 82. I just wanted to note down as Sammy Walker. He's been performing really well for my team. He is going to be my ticket to Nico Hines, especially, you know, hopefully he builds a little bit of cash between now and then. I think, you know, he has one more game in him and then he might get a price rise. I think that could be his 3-game average. I'm not too sure. So hopefully on that rolling average, he gets a price rise. Hopefully I've timed that right. I'm not too sure. Hopefully I'm hoping I have. But Sammy Walker has been performing really well. His goal kicking's got a whole lot better. You know, just that team, you know, even without Teddy for most of that game last week, he just performed really, really nicely. So it's good to see that. And my last two, we had Garrick and Grant with 81 points. Just really good performers there. Garrick didn't have his best game of the weekend, still get 81, scored a try, this and that. Harry Grant as well. Harry Grant had a cracker, like, you know, that try-saving tackle that he had. Just the guy is a gun, and it's so good to have in my squad. Moving on to my underperformers over the weekend, and no one really fully underperformed, to be honest. Like, there was a couple of guys that have been scoring big that haven't scored great lately and all that sort of stuff. Like, I think the biggest underperformer, we had Adam Dewey with 41, and to be honest, like, I'm thinking of it this way, like, once he gets into form, and hopefully they do, I'm not sure what the Tigers do at the moment because they are running like a busted right now, but if we had like Dewey maybe go back to 6 and get more opportunities for try assists and this and that, I feel like he plays better from that 6. He runs harder just on that side. I don't know what it is with the Tigers at the moment. I didn't think Dane Laurie had really a bad season, so I'm not too sure what to go as there, but he's still got the goal kicking, and you know, when that team clicks, which hopefully it does sometime soon, he's like 41 points on a team that he's running like a busted, and like the last couple of weeks he's scoring 50s and stuff on a team that's a busted, and he's not having great games. Still, I think he's dealing with that turf toe and this and that. Hopefully he's getting over that shortly. So yeah, 41 points, not too great there. The Hammer with 43 points, obviously not the best game from him. He is definitely a player I'll be looking at moving on sometime soon because I feel like he has made a lot of his cash, and especially with all the injuries around the Dolphins, I don't expect him to be killing it every single week. We have seen this from the Hammer back at the Cowboys when he got some game time there. He can score low 20s and stuff like that. So, you know, we never know with that. Katoa with 45 points. Just wanted to touch on, you know, Katoa, that team performed, it was a weird performance from the Storm. I thought they performed really, really nicely, but they still missed a lot of tackles and this and that. So I think the Katoa missed like 5 tackles in that game, this and that. But still performed really, really nicely. Just overall, I think, you know, they grow from here, and I still see a big game out of him. You know, he scored a couple of tries last couple of weeks. He's got some big line breaks and this and that. I see this more and more, so I'm definitely holding on to him. I feel like he's a gun to hold on to. And Hopgood with 47. The only thing that worries me about Hopgood here, you know, if Hopgood started the season, he was hitting 47s or 50s and this and that, I'll be like cheering either way because he was cheap. But when we saw the potential out of him with 120, 122 weeks in a row, and then, you know, dropping to about 60s to where people are kind of thinking that's where he's going to average and this and that. I think that a lot of that has come back to Madison coming back into the team, and I'm not sure what Brad Arthur's doing with these forward rotations. I don't really know what to go is there. Hopefully it's not another Ricky Ball situation and this and that, but having Madison replace Hopgood in the middle where I don't know what, like, I feel like, you know, Rugby League Guru has come out and said, like, you know, it would be good to see Hopgood get like 60 minutes and just kill it for those 60 minutes. I don't know. The last couple of weeks, I've been like kind of noticing. I feel like Hopgood is a very like long-term player. Like, you know, he'll sit on the field for 80 minutes or 70 minutes at least or something like that. And just really get into the contest, get a lot of these tackles there. And I feel like they just look better with like Hopgood in the middle. I don't know what it is. And have Maddo on that edge. I thought Maddo killed it on that edge against who did they play last week? Whoever they played last week. I thought Maddo killed it on that edge for a long minute time there. And I feel like that's their best lineup before like Sean Lane comes back. And then you could maybe push Cartwright to the middle or something like that to get a spell for Hopgood or, you know, something like that. Because Matt Dury's been performing okay, like really nicely and this and that. But like, I just feel like they're a better unit that way where, you know, they have their big players playing for decent minutes and this and that and have their front row rotations going through. Because I feel like, you know, RCG, Junior Paulo, like he was out last week, but like, you know, last couple of weeks, he's been playing big minutes. And if you just get struck from the middle that way, I don't know. That's just my opinion anyway. But, you know, Hopgood, 47. Hopefully he gets a bit more minutes and a bit more like points within those minutes the next couple of weeks. But I do believe in him. I got him for cheapy and all that sort of stuff. Maybe he could be a guy I could move on for Nico Hines. Who knows? But yeah, let's see how we go with that one. Now, moving on to my team for next week. So the trades I have come into, we had Teague Wilton to Jackson Ford. And this one was more of a cash move to get to Nico Hines. This is my road to Nico Hines. Jackson Ford has been performing really nicely. I know he didn't get a big score last week, got 43. averaging 44. I believe like last week, you know, he was up against a really like tough Shark side there. I think he was up against Teague Wilton on that side. Overall, the Sharkies are a top team, so it's pretty hard to perform crazy against the top teams like that all the time. But I think Jacko, I've seen enough out of him. I do believe he's going to lock down that edge spot. Mitch Barnett, when he comes back, I do believe that we're looking at definitely putting him in the front row there, in our front row rotation. That's this and that. And Jacko, I feel like Jacko's held down that spot. We've already seen like, you know, Andrew Webster come out and just tell everyone that he is like a player that performs in the long run. Like he performs a long game. He doesn't like, he's not put on the field and just punch out 20 and kill it that way. He's like a player that plays a full 80 and he just performs. He's like a fine wine. He just gets better with how long the game goes. So I'm really keen to have him in my squad. He's been performing really well for me. I've been watching him every week. So yeah, I'm rating Jackson Ford at the moment. And Teague Wilton hadn't been doing too bad at all. I would have kept Teague Wilton if that Nico Hines didn't come back anytime like soon, this and that. But, you know, I feel like I just need to move some cash around. Hopgood could have been the answer there too, but I feel like Teague Wilton, I don't know. I went that move. I could change back, who knows? Like, this is like coming early week and all that sort of stuff, but that's the move I went for this week. And my second trade, we had the Hammer, and I moved him on for Greggy Marju. I know this seems a little bit like, because, you know, Marju was a bit higher price and this and that, and I've lose a little bit of cash that I could have gained there to get Nico Hines in and this and that, but Greggy Marju, consistent high scorer, 2 weeks in a row with 100 points plus. I had to get a player there that's going to consistently get really decent scores. I feel like Marju is that sort of player, especially seeing him in last week. His base stats are fucking amazing. And even if he just builds cash to get around that 700k player, I could drop him down to a 600k player, and then move on and get to Nico Hines that way. Or, you know, there's so many options I could have gone there. But I just feel like the Hammer has come to a point now where I just can't see him playing for my squad. And I don't really want to play my cashies like Alamonte all the time, or Camprera or Walbrick. Coming into next week, I'll be looking at one of those guys maybe to shift out of my team as well, or to cash out on maybe Sean Bloor after the weekend he's had, or, you know, a couple other players that could go through. We have an injury with Jacob Preston coming into this week, so I'm not reserving him this week. By the looks of it, he's injured his hand. Not too sure what the go is there, but you know, if anything's a really bad one, I could cash out on a lot of players in my team here. And I feel like we're running really, really nicely over the weekend. And lastly, my captains for the week, I'm looking at, you know, don't look at my team that I've got on the screen here, but I am looking at Walshy or Val. These are the two players I'll be looking at. Walshy against the Raiders. I do honestly think the Raiders are going to turn out against the Broncos in this one. I don't think they're going to be treaded lightly, you know, all that sort of stuff. I think that it's going to be an actual close game in that one. I do think the Broncos will probably come out over the top of the Raiders, but I just think it's going to be a closer game than what it was last week against the Panthers. And then Valentine, I feel like Valentine's got a really good matchup in the weekend against the Dolphins that are really struggling now with injuries. And I just believe, you know, if they're going to bring Nicarima on that side, I believe that's the same side Nicarima will probably be defending on, unless they switch around with Katoa and this and that. Even then, like I do see points there for Val on the edge. So, you know, with Branko Lee, I'm pretty sure defends on that same side as well. He does have some defensive lapses. If it's not him, it's Ewan Aiken, which could be a little bit tough. Actually, I think it is Ewan Aiken on that side. Still, I feel like Val's going to be in for a game here, and I feel like the Cowboys need to turn out after last week. Hopefully, you know, players like, you know, Harlem Lukey and all that are okay. Coming away with an injury in that one. So, you know, the Cowboys have been shot with a whole lot of injuries and a whole lot of like just unfortunate events, but you know, it is what it is. I feel like Val is a point scorer and he could be a good one to captain this week. Other ones, you know, I could go with the consistent one, Harry Grant or Cleary, but I just don't know. Maybe Cleary could be the go against Manly, because Manly are actually leaking a lot of points here, even though they're holding up a lot of points as well. So I'm not too sure. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Hopefully we get through a nice week of Supercoach again and move up those ranks and hopefully build some cash, and the road to Nico Hines is beginning. So next week, looking at bringing Nico Hines in, hopefully we get the cash to do that. If you enjoyed this sort of content, please make sure you like and subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. More content is on the way. Thank you so much, guys.